Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And now that the NFL draft has come and gone, it is time for our draft grades. We're going to do an AFC and an NFC version of this. Today we're doing AFC, tomorrow NFC. Let's start out in Buffalo. Why don't you come and join us and deliver these grades? So, how I'm going to grade is fit, and if we may talk about other teams, but it'll be mostly just about how this player fits with this or doesn't. So let's first begin in Buffalo, where they drafted Maxwell Harrison. First of all, I love the pick. When you have a slot corner who's a little insane sometimes, because he's like, man, I'm not losing a rep. And then if he does, he's like, well, I'm not losing the next one, and then the next one. That's kind of what you want as a slot corner. You have to be a little crazy. And that's the importance of him. Having said that, they already have a slot corner in Tremaine Johnson. So, unless they move Tremaine Johnson to the outside, they do have cornerback issues after all. They could do that, move him to the outside and allow Maxwell Harrison to play slot, because he's just not tall enough to play the other side, the outside position really, consistently. Then it was a wasted draft pick if that's what you're just trying to have them battle. But if you move Tremaine Johnson to the outside, it's a good move. Next up, Dolphins, the Kenneth Grant pick. I like the pick. This is your Christian Watkins replacement. He's going to be your big guy. He's not much of a sacker. That's not what he does. He's not a pass rusher at this point. But he reminds me a lot of Christian did I just say Christian Watkins? Christian Wilkins, my bad. He's a big guy. He attacks the run. It's hard to move him. When he does build that part of his game and pass rush, he'll be way better than he already is, which is already impressive. When it was him and Mason Graham in Michigan, those were the two guys you talked about consistently. So I love the pick. For the Bills, I would say it's a B+. For the Dolphins, also say. For the Patriots, welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And now that the NFL draft has come and gone, we are going to grade the draft picks. We're going to grade the first round picks from the AFC and NFC. We're going to do AFC today, NFC tomorrow. Let's first start out with the Buffalo Bills, who drafted Maxwell Harrison. I love this pick. I love this kid. This guy he's unbelievable. And he has kind of the feel of a slot corner. He's a little crazy, but you have to be. Because he's like, man, I'm not losing a rep. And if he does lose one, he's like, well, I'm not losing the next one, or the next one. He's that kind of borderline crazy. Which is actually fascinating when you have those guys. Those guys are they keep your team together. They're the leaders. That's what you want. I don't know what they're going to do, really. They already have a slot corner in Tremaine Johnson. So maybe they have to move Tremaine Johnson to the outside to have Maxwell Harrison be the slot, because that's all he can be. He's not really a tall guy. So they could do that. But otherwise, it's a competition. And you really want your first round pick to do a competition? Not really. But it's a good move. I'd give it a B+. For the Dolphins, they drafted Kenneth Grant. This is your Christian Wilkins replacement. He's a big guy. He stops the run. It's hard to move him. He's not much of a sacker, which Christian Wilkins, when he started, wasn't either. So you're hoping they can build that game. But he's so electric when he plays. It's hard, like I said, it's hard to move him. When he was at Michigan with Mason Graham, those were the two guys you talked about all the time. How do you beat, because Mason Graham would do something, and then you have Kenneth Grant do something, and it would be in the next play. It was awesome to watch. I like this pick for the Dolphins mainly because last year your best defensive lineman was 38-year-old Calais Campbell. Yeah, this needed to happen. So I like this move from the Dolphins. Give it a B+ for me. Next up, New England Patriots. They drafted Will Campbell. Has there ever been more of an offensive lineman than Will Campbell? This is the most offensive lineman thing to do. He gets drafted by the Patriots. The reporter is talking to him, and he starts talking about his work and he's crying a little bit about how hard it was to get here. But he said when they were talking about Drake May, he'll die before anyone hits Drake May. That's the most offensive lineman thing to do, and I love it. He said, like, the offensive line, I don't know what position he'll play. I think he'll play mostly. I think they'll have him at tackle. I think he'd be better at guard. He doesn't have the largest wingspan. It's harder for guys to get into him. So he lunges more. And when you lunge more, then if you miss the guy, it's over, kind of thing. But he's in good position. It's just that his arm length is a problem. And it does sometimes get him in trouble. But I do like what he said about Drake May. I'll give it that one a B. That's a solid B. For the Jets, they drafted Ahmed Membu out of Missouri. And Membu, I like this pick too. I thought that the AFC East did a nice job in drafting. Last year, your offensive linemen were Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. This year, it's going to be Olufashanu and Ahmed Membu. This is more of a younger offensive line, more talented offensive line. Like I said, like I already said, you have Fashanu. You drafted Elijah Vera Tucker a few years ago. This offensive line had a really nice remodel. If they can just find a way to blend it together a little bit, it'll be a good choice all around. So I did like this move. Give this one a B, a solid B. Next up, Ravens, who probably have the best grade of my class. I gave this one an A. Look, they drafted Malachi Stokes. Malachi Stokes legit just fell in the draft, which is always the Ravens that get this ability. They just draft the player who falls that was in the SEC. That's what they do. Every year. This year was Malachi Stokes. Stokes' weakest point is he has to work more on his tackling, which pairing him with Kyle Hamilton will stick out like a sore thumb if he can't tackle. But I love this pairing. They're very aggressive. He was best safety in the class, in my opinion. Pairing him with possibly the best safety in the league, that's going to be fun. And I did like the Mike Green pick. They had a round early. I almost said a draft later. The round later, he fell from the first round because of allegations of assault that he's been very public about. But I did like that they drafted him. If those allegations didn't exist, he would have been a first-round pick. So I like the two picks there. So I did think the Ravens did get two good players. They had the allegations on the second one. Cincinnati, This is probably my lowest grade. I gave this one a C. It was like a C minus. It was not a good grade. Because they drafted Shamar Stewart, and I don't even know how you describe Shamar Stewart. They described him as he's a viable starter in the future and a good depth piece in the current. And I'm like, is he? Is he? Because he didn't show any of that in college. In college, he played 3 seasons in Texas A&M. He had 4.5 sacks. That's it. They didn't know if he was a defensive tackle or a defensive end. Because he's built like Myles Garrett. There's a description when you have players like this. He looks like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane. That's Shamar Stewart. He looks like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane. He's so... you look at how he's built, his body, his arm length, everything. You think, this is an unbelievable player. He gets like 15 sacks a year. And yet he got 4.5 in his career, and you're like, what happened? Like, this isn't the guy at all. This can't be the guy. That's who they drafted. I didn't like that one. Did not like that one. I gave that one a C minus. Browns. They ended up drafting Mason Graham. They trade back from 2 to go to 5. They draft Mason Graham to help out Myles Garrett. I like that move. Their grade's lower, in my opinion. It would have been a B minus, a B. I have it as a C plus, just because of how they drafted their quarterbacks later on. They drafted the worst quarterback first. They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. They drafted Shedeur in the 5th round. Those should have been flipped. That should have been flipped because Shedeur's a way better player than Dylan Gabriel. And for all the people, we're going to do a video on Shedeur Sanders falling down the draft board. We'll do that probably on Monday. But I do want to mention that. This is exactly what happened. And it needs to be spoken about. But Dylan Gabriel going before him was not right. I thought he was the worst player of the 2. So C plus for the Browns. Pittsburgh. Derek Harmon. I like the pick because I like the player. I think it benefits the Steelers. It's B minus for me because I thought they should have drafted a quarterback earlier than they did. They drafted Will Howard in the 6th. But I'm not. I like the pick. 36-year-old Cam Hayward. This guy plays like Cam Hayward. So when Cam Hayward is done, this is going to fit very well, in my opinion. Now let's move to the AFC South. They didn't do anything in the 1st round. They traded back from the 25th pick to the 34th pick, and to get the 99th pick as well. So they didn't do really anything in the 1st. So their draft grade is NA. They don't have one in the 1st round. Colts, they drafted Tyler Warren. I like the pick. The Bears went for Colston Loveland earlier, so I do like this pick from the Colts. I do like it. I thought Tyler Warren was the best in the draft, so get him at pick 14. It's a good choice. I'll give that one a solid B. Jacksonville. They traded up from 5 to 2 and drafted Travis Hunter. This is an A, in my opinion. This is an A. Because you got 2 players, essentially. You got a wide receiver, you got a corner. They are committed, the Jaguars are committed to playing him on both sides of the ball. Will that mean every down? Probably not. Probably more 3rd down situation and red zone situations. But they'll probably have him play corner all the time. Which I love this pick. I really do. I thought this was awesome. So I take an A. This is an A. Titans. Cam Ward. They didn't mess it up. I still say it should have been Shedeur over Cam, but that's my opinion. They didn't mess it up. I'll give him an A for not messing up. An A for effort. AFC West. We got the Denver Broncos. Jahdae Barron. I love this pick. This was him and Maxwell Harrison were the two guys as corners in this class. For me, they nailed this. Getting him where they got him at pick 20. He's a tackling machine. He's not afraid to tackle. He'll go after the ball. Pairing him with Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and Jaquan McMillan, that's a great quartet, I guess you could put it. That's a great quartet. That's going to be fun to watch because Denver's going to love this kid. He is, again, like Maxwell Harrison, a little crazy, but it's a thing you want as a corner. Take that any day you can. I love this pick. This was a great pick. This is, in my opinion, an A. Great job. Chiefs, they took Josh Simmons at pick 32. They traded back with the Eagles from 31 to 32. They took Josh Simmons. Look, I like the move. I think it was a B. I'm not going to go under a B. They needed an offensive lineman. Does he need a year? He tore his patella tendon. He should be okay, but he did tear it. So I wonder if he needs a year. But I do like the pick. It's a B. It's a solid B. Raiders, they go and they draft Ashton Genty. This is the most Pete Carroll thing ever, where they draft a running back. It's every time with Pete Carroll, it's a running back. Like, this is, you didn't mess this up. This is an A. You got the best running back in the class. His contact balance, he's hard to bring down. He's got great balance because it's hard. You can't even, like, he's got great footwork. He's great in that department. He's got great vision. He can help in the passing game, the block. He can block. He can catch. He can run, obviously, great vision. His ability, he has great speed to balance. He's got everything. This is an A. You did not mess this up if you're the Raiders. The Raiders were at the bottom of the league in rushing yards per game. They won't be. This is a great choice. I love this choice. The Chargers, I also love their choice. They drafted on Marion Hampton, who, very similar to Genty, balanced runner, great vision, great catching ability, probably better catching ability than Genty in my opinion. Speed, you pairing him with Najee Harris. This is we want to run the football and we want to be younger. We had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards last year. Now we have Najee Harris and Marion Hampton. Love this pick. It's an A. This was a great pick. And that's our grades for the AFC edition of the AFC portion of this. Let me know in the comments what your grades would have been for the AFC and were the grades that I said right or wrong. For NFL World, I'm Jacob.